fishing this morning from a causeway at Lake Gunnersville in Alabama, which is something I often like to do when I'm in this area because the causeways provide good opportunities. But really, that's true in a lot of areas. Wanted to talk a second about causeways because it's something that when I'm fishing an area where maybe I haven't spent time before and don't know a lot about the public accesses or what the lake is like, I'll look to see where there are causeways, and that's an area that I'll often try first, just because of the opportunities that they provide. And if you look, if you consider a causeway, I mean it's a place where a bridge is crossing a creek or a river, and often those are those tend to be kind of like the creek and river channels are like highways to fish, and the causeways themselves create structure that's along those highways. So it's kind of like the rest stop. You have the fish are moving along and they come to where the bridge crosses, and you have the structure of the bridge and a big big variety of depths in one place. Sometimes a funnel with current or with wind current, and then you also have the whole bank of riprap that normally leads up to the bridge on both sides. So there's a big variety of structure and depths all in one areas, and all of that to fish means just a good place to hang out and to feed. So if you're looking at waters that you don't know about, you know it's likely to be a good spot, and it's somewhere where there's often good shoreline access. So that's why they're good. And a couple of suggestions for fishing causeways. First, start out at home, looking at Google Maps or some type of satellite type of view, and just get a look at whether there's parking along a causeway. Sometimes there is, sometimes there's not. And make sure there's somewhere where you can pull off legally and safely and leave the car and try to ascertain how much you can walk around and get around. But a lot of times there's going to be riprap banks on both sides of the bridge and both ends of the bridge. So you have 4 different stretches of riprap, and then you have it circling underneath the bridge on both sides. So it can, even a relatively small causeway is a pretty good range of areas. But looking at the satellites, you can tell what kind of depth and drop-offs that you have, and try to create a little bit of a plan. Some of the areas that you want to fish, like where I am right now, this is some sort of an old pump house structure or something like that, and you have an extension of this riprap that comes out. And a lot of times little things, sometimes you'll see them on the map, sometimes you won't see them until you get out there, but little things can make a pretty big difference as far as the best spots. You'll have a riprap bank that looks pretty similar, but there'll be a spot where it juts out just a little bit, or the slope changes, and that extends beneath the water and creates ambush positions for the fish. So that's where they're apt to be. You might see a pipe that runs through the bridge, or that goes under the riprap that leads to water that's on the other side. Sometimes there's going to be current there or a little bit of washout. So look for those little things, and of course focus on the bridge itself, and the where it wraps around, the pilings if you can cast to them, and the riprap that's right underneath your feet is the same thing you'd be casting to from a boat. And when you're fishing in riprap, when you're fishing off causeways, one of the really nice things about them is that it puts you at a good vantage. If you watch boating anglers, we've got a little bit of grass here. That's a little bit challenging for the crankbait approach. But when you watch fishermen working a causeway from a boat, they're working along a riprap bank. They're usually going to position their boat pretty close to the rocks so that they can cast parallel and keep the bait in the strike zone the entire time. And sometimes that's kind of a challenge in a boat, depending on how the wind is blowing and how shallow the rocks are and what kind of stuff comes up. From the shoreline, you have a very controlled, fixed position that allows you to do that. So in ways, it's actually more efficient than fishing from a boat. And then when you do come out and fish the riprap, think about the species that are in the waters that you're fishing and how you want to fish. A lot of times I like to go with something like I fished most of this morning earlier with crappie jigs, both beneath the float and on their own. And it is a place where people often catch crappie, but also I caught a bluegill, a yellow bass, a shiner, had a skipjack hook. Well, by fishing with the smaller baits, you open up a little bit of everything, and that's one of the nice things about the Causeways is so many different types of fish are attracted to them. So when you're traveling somewhere and looking for a place to fish, look and see what kind of causeways are around, because you might find a real bounty.